Good evening, everyone out there. How's everybody doing tonight? Alright, so tonight I'm going to start trying to make a video, which I know nothing of how to do, on making containers, also, which I don't really know how to do. So, just to give you a little background, I'm trying to create a container here that is running a program written in Python called YSF Reflector. I believe this particular version is 3. It is a program that runs a server to host digital radio over IP for ham radio. Um, I'm currently running the server standalone on an Ubuntu server out in the cloud elsewhere, but I really like to containerize it so that I can better use some storage and resources in total. Um, so this is kind of my struggles. I've already been working on this, but it's proven to be a little more difficult than I thought, trying to work out some dependencies and get other things sorted out here. So without further ado, let's jump into what I got here. Um, I've got on my local machine here, I've just got a little test environment that I've got. I've got Docker on here, and I'm in a directory. You can kind of see the directory structure, and here, let me switch screens. You'll see the directory structure I have here in the background behind my terminal here. I just got this up to kind of help remind me of where I've stashed files. My working directory here is this reflect dev here. That's where my Docker file and all that is, and I'm gonna start working this out. I just figured I'd take care of people that might care along for this journey in case there are others trying to create the same thing I'm creating. And I think as containers are getting a little more approachable for regular people like myself, those of us, especially in the ham radio community that are tinkers, might like to take advantage of it and collapse down from some of the physical infrastructure we have in our houses or other places. I know a common place to run these reflectors in the past has been on Raspberry Pis or old PCs in your house, um, which can be quite cumbersome if, like me, you want to moderate a couple different rooms. So this is my journey. Take it all with a grain of salt. This is just what I'm going through, and I figured I'd share it because there wasn't a whole lot of information out there on this particular use case. So we're gonna start jumping into this. I'll start by opening up my Docker file and just kind of showing off what I'm starting with here. I'm going to start with the latest Ubuntu image to build this Docker file, and just right now, for simplicity's sake, as I get it started, hopefully once I get it running, I'm going to try and slim that down to a base image that is not as heavy as Ubuntu. I'd like to get it down to maybe like one of the Debian Slims or something like that. Make it a little more lightweight, because I really don't need all the things that come with Ubuntu to run this program. So to start with, I'm gonna pull the latest Ubuntu. I'm gonna stop the interactive mode on the installs from coming through. I did have an issue. One of the packages I installed, the interactive, came up, asked me a question to a prompt to enter an option, and I never could get the entered option to take. So we're just going to bypass the interactive mode. And then the first thing I'm going to do once the image is built, I'm going to go ahead and do an update and upgrade, just for good practices. I'll definitely need to make sure my repos are up to date so I can pull the next set of packages, and then just good security practice, make sure everything's up to date. Try and catch vulnerabilities before they become an issue. And then a little bit next section here, we're going to install these 7 programs. It looks like Python 3, pip, get, PHP, the SQLite extension for PHP, SQLite itself, and Apache 2. These are all dependencies for the Python program that I'm trying to run. It's a Python it's actually two different programs. One's running the Reflector, and then a second part running the log collector and feeding the PHP pages to serve a web page of status and current connected nodes. So after we grab all those dependencies, I'm gonna use git clone to pull down the YSF Reflector 3 here by, I believe that's a call sign, LU5JAE. It's the PYS Reflector 3. This is just the YSF Reflector written in Python, and a newer version. I like this one because I can get the deny database or the block list allow list to work pretty well. I found that running through my other Reflector that there are some clowns out there on the internet, and being able to use the deny database to make sure they're valid call signs has come in handy quite a bit and stopped some of the internet trolls that do exist. So after I grab our actual program from Git, I'm going to do some just in-house maintenance in the container. I need to move some files from the repo over to where the script expects them to live for runtime. So just some housekeeping there. I've got to make a directory for the log output so that directory, the mmdvm directory, is there when logs start being created, because that is where the Reflector program expects to put them. Then I'm going to copy up this reflector.ini and this deny.db. These are files that I have that I keep on my local host here for editing rather than editing in the container. So I want to make sure I'll keep these up to date, and so I want to make sure I pass up the most current ones from my host to the container, and then I need to expose port 80 for the web server and 4200 for the Reflector connectivity. And then after I do that, the final thing here is I'm going to run the actual Python scripts. That's my Docker file there, and what I expect to happen. I've tried to build this a couple times, and I've definitely ran into some issues. I do have it built here right now, coming from Ubuntu latest after all the dependencies are installed. I'm at 575 megabytes. I'd definitely like to try and get that down. I think it's possible, but that's it's going to be a bit further down the road. So, see, I don't think I even have. Yep. So I left the container I was working on yesterday running. I do know that I'm still missing a couple dependencies in this current Docker file that I still need to add, but this running container, I did have them. I've already added the two dependencies. It was APRS lib extension for pip and a tinydb, but those have already been added into this running version of this running container here, and they're on my list of things to add to the Docker file. I haven't done that yet. So I'm going to start by trying to connect to this this container and see if I can get these Python programs to start today. I'm going to be honest, I was a little tired yesterday when I kind of quit, so I don't remember exactly what error I was getting. So I'm going to connect with bash into these. So as you can see, this is the directory that I have put everything in for runtime. Um, I may adjust that later, and kind of go with the standard convention of moving all the needed files into like an app directory, and then renaming everything to match remapping. But for now, I'm just kind of sticking to what's working on the working server I have, just for reference, so that I can follow along. Um, and so far, it seems to be working. Where your files live on the end system is not necessarily crucial to the development. That'll be polishing that I'll get to, probably towards the end. So in here, now that I'm in here, you can see this is where I was trying to start the reflector yesterday. So I'm gonna try and kick it off again. Yeah, this error. So it's telling me that I have a address already in use, and I'm pretty sure that this is referring to that port 42,000 that I have exposed. So I think one of the ways I'm gonna try and circumvent this is I'm gonna comment the expose statements out of my Docker file and see if I get it to start, and then kind of go through that. Now, one other thing I did want to do is I want to try and start the collector real quick and see if that gives me any kickback. So so yeah, just bear with me as I'm trying to remember where everything's located. Think that'll get it. Can't open file reflector, error number 2, no such directory. So now I gotta, let's see, lspys dash collector. Yeah, so collector3.py. Yeah. Wow. Yeah. So definitely don't remember. Collector no such .py. Let's see. I've got some notes open off camera here. I'm gonna grab those right quick. Yeah, but it does exist. So let's try that again. Python 3. Give it the file path. ls options. Don't. It does exist. I see the error of my ways. There's a silly 3. Done sockets. Threads initialized. Okay. Alright, so that one will actually start. So that's a good thing. So I verified that was one thing I did not get to last night, was verifying that the collector database would start. So now that I know that starts as expected, I've connected the server. It says it's connected to the server even though the server's not running. But the threads have been initialized, and it made a new new database with empty tables. That is what I expect to see when that service is started. That lets me know that at least that part is working correctly. And actually, I want to, because I've got to update my Docker file and I know it, I'm going to grab this and I need to I'm going to knock that off, drag this off screen just a bit. Yeah, alright, so the collector there is is not shutting down because it's getting no response, which is fine. Hang on, let's see. Am I going silly? Hang on just a second. Sorry about this. It's taking me, my note taking. It's going crazy. I'll address that in a minute. Sorry. Rabbit hold. Control C. So etc init.d Apache to start. Alright, so I wanted to start that and see if I could get the port 80 traffic through localhost. I'll switch over here. Localhost. Let's see if this works. I think it's, yeah, so just for kicks and giggles, you can see here that even though I started Apache, that port 80 traffic is not coming through, which I kind of expected. I'm not being, I wasn't trying to be over realistic or anything. Yeah, so let's see. Control C, Control D, P. Oh, Control D. Switch back here. Just I'm gonna try something right quick. Just to verify the port 80 is not coming through. Yeah, no, I didn't think so. Localhost. Alright. That'll probably cause problems later. Let me sort that out. Yeah, nope. Alright, so go back here. Let me clear this screen real quick. I had some sensitive stuff up. And then bring you back here. Alright, so I definitely know that I have some issues to work out on the Reflector program for the sockets or addresses, and my ports are definitely not being passed up, which I am using the default Docker network default bridge there, so I know there's some issues and limitations with that, but normally I can get port 80 to come through for testing on a local environment. So yeah, I'm gonna take a moment and think on this for a second and come up with the action plan, and I will be right. Alright, so I'm back and what would be the blink of an eye for you, but in reality it's been like 24 hours, if you can tell by the change of a tire here. So I did some futzing around off camera, and I think I've gotten a way forward. Um, I definitely made some progress, and I've made the notes on that, and I've taken us back to a new container that was kind of where I started this whole troubleshooting process. So we'll walk through kind of the errors that I've seen and what I'm going to do to fix them through, you know, consorting the Google and other, uh, failed efforts and learning. But one thing I did want to show real quick is this is my GitHub for this project here. This one's private right now. When I get it working, I'll open it up to the public. But one thing I've been doing is actually making issues here and using those to help me track things. Like the one where we have the error for the address already in use. You can see I made my little test list of things that I wanted to try. And then through some Googling, I found this, which we'll run a little bit to show what's using those ports. And so using this will really help me start to work through some of this and keep up. But especially sir, this is a just a hobby of mine, so it's stop and go sometimes. So having the ability to make these notes and keep detailed plans going back and forth is greatly beneficial for me. Helps keep me on track, and I don't spend hours when I come back to a project just trying to catch myself back up. I can kind of remember where I am. So I'm gonna go back over here. We'll jump into the meat of the operation here. Back in a terminal, you can see did go ahead and start this container here, pretty much in the same state I started with the other one, where even this one should even be missing some of the dependencies that we're going to fix. And sorry if that ice was real loud in your ears there. We're going to go through and I'll kind of show you the whole process of what I had going to get to this point. So let's go ahead and jump in this Docker, in this container, and let's see. Should just be able to do Herschel dash. Can I do it out here? Tag ID. It's got to be back here. Oops. I'm doing horrible at this. Oh well. Everybody else can see. Normal people struggle too. Alright, so this is the container straight off of the build from the image that I've already done. So what we should see here is that as we try and start the YSF Reflector Python script, we're going to start getting all kinds of errors here. So I got to pull up my notes here for reference because I am forgetting file path names and all this stuff. So alright, so in here we want to do a Python 3 Reflector, and then we're going to give it the file path. First we call it the program, and then the file path for any configuration files. So now I'm going to give it the file path for the INI and the ampersand to make sure that it runs in the background. Alright, so this is the first error I encountered. We are missing the PHP extension for the APRS library. So what I was able to do is do a pip install aprslib. Yeah, it works better if you spell it right, but hey. So, boom, downloaded. So, go up. Oh, alright, so now it's saying, again, TinyDB is a missing dependency for this program. So, again, we'll do a pip install TinyDB cp, let this run, boom. You know what, let me clear the screen, and we'll try and run this again. So, alright, yep, I forgot this error did exist. I fixed this in my Docker file already, I do believe. That, I believe, is called out in the INI. Let's see. So, let's see, let me drop back here, and then I should be able to edit. Oh, I am not in the right directory. Stand by. Let me get back in the correct directory here, and then edit Reflector. So I believe I have edited this one. Yep, so here is the file path that was complaining was unable to be found. So I'll quit that, and then here I'm going to do a docker cp roam. Roam hobo p. Why is it not liking roam hobo pys? What is nifty? Nope. Yeah, I don't. Dadgummit, now I done forgot the name of the container. So docker cp roam hobo pys. I have to make sure I spell this correctly or it gets all messed up. Trust me, and my spelling's not that great. Hungry Herschel is the name. Herschel. Opt. PYSF. PYSF. Must specify Docker CP. Oh, yeah. There we go. So, Docker exec dash IT. My typing's not doing so great tonight. What the heck? Yep. Alright, so I'm gonna clear the screen. So now if we start that, alright, so now we're back to the address is in use here. So what I found after doing some digging is that I believe when the build file, when the Docker file builds, it's actually kicking off a corrupt version of this, because when I do the net stat, that should show. Stand by one second. Let me pull up my notes here. TUNLP. Oh yeah, I did have to apt install net tools. Trying to yeet things and I can't. Alright, net tools is what gives you net stat, and you can see that there's already Python program taking up 4200. So if I did kill 47. You can also do it this way, Python 3. So now I got nothing there, and then my reflector should start. Boom, starts. It's in the background. Everything's hunky dory. And then I should also be able to start my collector as well. So that should be a Python 3 options. Nope. Disregard. Dashboard. Collector 3. Collector 3.py. Yep, that should go. I forgot the ampersand to run that in the background. So now we'll create a new database with the stuffs, and now I should be able to restart Apache here. init.d Apache 2 start. Yep. So, and then let's see if I go to browser here, transition. Let's see if I can. Aha! So I got it working. So on this one, now that Apache's actually running, what I have, what I'll show you real quick is if we do the docker ps, we'll see that I forwarded port 8080 from the host into 80 for the reflector. So I should be able to do a local host and then do in main.php, which should show you the reflector. Do I do it after the? I think I do. Main.php. Yep, there we go. So there is the website for the reflector actually pulling in information as it should be running. All the logs are dumping over. I got to work on getting a way to get the radio to connect. That is a next side project I'm going to have to do before I come back on camera. But this gets me what I'm pretty sure is going to wind up being a working configuration. And what that's going to leave me to do Docker wise is I think I'm going to use Docker Compose in this, because my eventual goal is to be able to take and have a container that runs just the reflector, and a container running a web server. And that way I can have containers running different reflectors, and then just one web server serving it. I can create the different web pages through Apache on the same server with virtual hosts, and then have each one just dumping its log files in the appropriate folders for the collector to grab and display in the PHP pages. And I think that'll work well. And then if I'm using Docker Compose, that way I can bring up everything at once, and if need be, especially like machine restarts and stuff, give me a little more flexibility. But it'll also give me the ability to build my own custom bridge network, and I think that will help with my port forwarding. And I may have to get to that point before I can actually get a radio to connect. I'm not real sure that the port forwarding here from this 42,000 series port is gonna work as I expect it, but trial and error will definitely prove time there. So I think what we're going to do here in just a second, though, So I'll walk you through updating the Docker file with the updates that need to be done to remedy these issues I had. I need to update the Docker file with those two pip install dependencies, and then I need to make sure that I'm calling the right file path for Reflector INI again. And I think that doing that will also, since hopefully the Docker file will, with the dependencies and the correct file mappings for the INI, should build a working Docker file that in the last two steps will start those two Python programs. Hopefully, when we hit the Docker, after we do the image build, we'll hit Docker up or Docker run, and it should come to a running configuration. That's my hope anyway. There's some stuff out there about entry points and stuff like that. I may have to utilize that, but I'm trying to get it where I can just do Docker run to get it where I want it, so that I can also use Docker compose to, like I said, to do multiple tenancies. But that's down the road quite a bit. So give me just a second here, and we'll jump into this Docker file, and we'll start going over. I'll show you how I'm going to input the changes for the dependencies that need to be done, and we'll just verify our file paths real quick, and then we'll delete the image that this container and the image that it was built on, and we will rebuild from the Docker file again and see what that lends us to. So we'll get started with that just a second. Hey everybody, I just want to let you know I've decided in post-production editing that I'm going to actually break this video up into two, just for size, maintenance, and upload speed and all those fun things. So just posting this on the end, the first video here to say goodnight and God bless. Part 2 coming out shortly.